Hey everybody at Christchurch, welcome to worship. The Lord be with you. Great to be back at school this week. We're thinking about hospitality. What a strange word. In the Bible it says practice hospitality. And today we're thinking about practicing hospitality with strangers, people we don't know. So I'm going to unpack that a little bit and what that means. And also we're thinking about World War II because it's VE Day on Friday and Victory in Europe Day. So if you're in Key Stage 2, you might be learning a little bit more about what that means. But how on earth people still showed kindness and hospitality even in times of war. So when things aren't going how we imagine. Now I've got a lovely image here with some of the words, and you won't necessarily be able to read them all, but I've got it here to remind me. One of them says, be kind. One of them says, express God's mercy and justice. So we're going to be learning about that over the next weeks. Take the gospel to the nations. Kate McNeese talked to us about that. Live prayerfully. Maybe prayer is something that you find really helpful as you talk to God. Celebrate creativity. Be as creative as you can. And here we have practice hospitality. So what on earth does that mean? Do you know, I've been thinking about the story of the Good Samaritan. It's a story that we might know really well. Do you remember there's the story about how somebody was attacked on the road and then other people came and passed by. They didn't stop to look after that Good Samaritan, the person who'd been attacked. And different people walked on past and left them dying on the side of the road. However, a Samaritan person came along. That was from the area that he lived. And he came and looked after the person that had been hurt and injured, and he put him on his donkey and he carried him to a place to be looked after, and he paid for all of the treatment. Now, he was called the Good Samaritan. It's a story in the Bible, and Jesus was really pleased with the man that helped a stranger. And so I was thinking, how can we help people that we don't know in a safe way? Like, how can we show kindness to people we don't know? Do you know, you can do all kinds of little things. Even just letting somebody walk in front of you is showing kindness to someone you don't know. All kinds of things. If you're at the park and a stranger's there and wants to go on the slide before you, why not let them? So you can show hospitality. It's showing kindness to people that you don't know. It's easy to show kindness to your friends and your family, and it's not always easy to show kindness to strangers. I've got an amazing story about somebody that showed kindness in World War II. Can you believe that? Within the war, she lived in Germany and she showed kindness. So I just want you to sit a bit comfy and I'm going to read you this story. One Christmas Eve, during the Battle of the Bulge, a young boy and his mother were alone in their forested cabin, safe from the icy cold, and they thought from enemy soldiers hiding in the countryside. Mrs. Witken and her son Fritz heard someone at the door. She opened it to find a group of US soldiers, that's American soldiers. One had been wounded. She brushed aside her fears of execution for helping the enemy and let the soldiers in her house. She did not speak English and they spoke no German, but the two parties were able to converse in French. Not long after the soldiers had settled in, there was a loud and sharp knocking at the door. Mrs. Witken was frightened that it could be German soldiers, so she opened the door carefully. She had been right. There was a very high likelihood that if the German soldiers had no mercy, then she would be shot for harbouring the Americans, even if it had only been for those few moments. The brave woman stepped outside and told the German soldiers that she would serve them a hot dinner, but that it was Christmas Eve. She had guests. She asked the Germans to leave their guns in her shed because even though they might not like her visitors, Christmas Eve was a night of peace. She then took the guns of the Americans and hid them as well. The German soldiers, having honoured her request, stepped inside. The atmosphere was awkward at first until one of the German soldiers, a medic, began work on dressing the wounds of one of the Americans. Fritz Witten recounted the incident in an interview with World War II History Network. Then we added some more ingredients to our stew and invited these enemies to sit down for dinner. One of the German soldiers, an ex-medical student, fixed the wounded American, and then Mother read from the Bible and declared that there would be at least one night of peace in this war. Christmas night in the Ardennes forest. After a good night's rest, they said their goodbyes and went on their way. The German soldiers told the Americans which way their camp was and gave them a compass to find their way. Fritz credits his mother's personality and generosity when asked why the German soldiers did not turn her in. I think it was my mum's personality and her persuasiveness to have them rest for one peaceful night. There was a place to stay, hot food and shelter from the cold, and they appreciated that. Mrs. Witten never saw any of those soldiers again, but Fritz has been reunited with two of the Americans, and he now lives in Hawaii. Many years have gone since that bloodshed of all wars, but the memories of that night in the Ardennes never left me. The inner strength of a single woman who, by her wits and intuition, prevented bloodshed taught me the practical meaning of the words goodwill toward mankind. I remember Mother and these 7 young soldiers who met as enemies and parted as friends, right in the middle of the Battle of the Bulge. Wow, what a story! I don't think that's ever likely going to happen to us, but she basically took the 2 enemy sides and said she wanted peace for one evening in our home and served them meals. And they all enjoyed one peaceful night that Christmas, and that was a true story. Now, how might we help others today, tomorrow, this week to show kindness? Have you ever heard of the expression pay it forward? Somebody does something kind to you, so therefore you can take a turn to do something kind for somebody different. Not the person who was kind to you, but someone else entirely. So if a good deed is paid to you, you can pay it forwards by doing something good in turn for somebody else. So I thought it'd be quite fun to do some pay it forwards. If someone's kind to you this week, could you be kind and pay it forward? You might want to, at the end of this video, talk about things that you could do to pay it forward. I know in some of your classes you're going to be doing some fundraising for Save the Children. That's going to be something kind of paying it on and helping people that we don't know ourselves. That's showing hospitality to strangers. So that fits in with what we're doing. So this week, think about how you could pay it forward, how you could show kindness. And following on from this, I've got a song that I've sent the link to for your teachers, and it's all about showing kindness. It's got some really fab words in, things like kindness, put it in your words. Wherever you find it, the world's a better place. You can put it in the things you say, the things you do. So have a think while you listen to the song. It's a really fun little boppy song that you can sit along and listen to about kindness. I want it to trigger some ideas, things that you could do to show kindness to the people around you and to people that you don't know, maybe people that live in a different country altogether. How could you show kindness and pay it forward? Go in peace, go in love, and go enjoy today.